That's what I love about LA. All the damn vampires.
It's hit our holy trinity, hasn't it? Cars, guns, fists.
Scott Adkins is in this movie, you guys. Finally.
What happened here? You piss your pants?
It's kind of my thing.
I am the most complete fighter in the world. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
Stick around. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate on me.
Dodge this.
Yes, it's episode 19 of everybody who listens to this podcast's favorite podcast. It's Dodge This. And I am Simon Fielder. That goes without saying. And yet I said it. But joining me, as ever, is my good friend across the pond, literally and only literally. It's Matthew Heighton.
Hi, Simon. Well, thanks for that dynamic intro about my location. I appreciate it. And now people are picturing a pond and they're sat on opposite sides, staring at each other from our separate benches.
That would actually be great, wouldn't it? If we just recorded a podcast.
Pondcast.
Oh boy. Forget it. Forget it. We've done that. That's the best intro we've done in 19 episodes. Matt's in London. I'm in Amsterdam. That really doesn't matter. But if you just like to paint a picture, you know, like obviously I'm surrounded by windmills. He's surrounded by knife crime.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Thanks.
On this episode, we should go to a different park. It's very sketchy in this one. On this episode of Dodge This, we are talking about the straight to Netflix J.J. Perry directorial debut starring Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, and a little bit of Snoop Dogg. It's Day Shift. But before we do that, we like to do a little check-in. See what we've been watching, see what we've been looking at, see what's been coming into our media lives over the last couple of weeks. Matt, what's been tickling your media fancy?
Not had much time this week. I did manage to watch another straight to Netflix film.
Did you?
I gave Enola Holmes a go. I know it's a bit older now.
Okay.
I quite enjoyed it.
I'll be honest, I was not expecting that.
Do you know what? I went in thinking this would be awful. I can't remember why I watched it now. I needed I thought it'd be easy background TV. And I thought this is going to be a very non-offensive film. I thought it was done quite well. It's got panned quite badly, I think. But I actually like Henry Cavill as Sherlock Holmes, as a background Sherlock Holmes. And I thought Enola Holmes is a good character. I'm very excited to see the second one in November. And by very excited, I mean I'll watch it.
Hey, what's Cavill's moustache situation in that movie? Real or computer generated? Removed?
They've removed it, but they've twisted it and given him mutton chops.
Very nice, actually.
They haven't.
Removed the moustache, added CG mutton chops.
Yeah. He's actually now just maintains complete baldness in his entire body, and they just
you know, like when
you,
on all his
you
hair.
know when you build a character at the beginning of a game, they do that with Cavill's hair.
he's basically The Sims at this point.
Yeah.
You just put him together however you want him. I also have not watched a lot, and I don't know if we should, you know, reveal sort of behind the wizard's curtain type stuff. But while it's been 2 weeks since you heard us, it's actually been only almost a week since we recorded the last podcast due to the magic of Hollywood. Matthew's going away, don't burgle his house. So we're squeezing this one in so that we can keep the old regularity up.
And I'm going to say this, Simon, I'm a sucker for this genre of film.
Okay.
See what I did there?
Oh, he's done a pun.
I'm a sucker for this genre of film, Simon. Yeah?
Fangs very much.
There we go.
And that's all the listeners gone. Great stuff. I have only watched one thing, which I've already mentioned a couple of times, I think maybe. I watched another episode of The Rehearsal on HBO Max, the Nathan Fielder thing.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to watch it. It's just so mad. I wish I could explain it, but it's impossible. It's a sort of what is it? It's like reality / mad. I suppose you could call it a prank show, but I think that would be so unfair. It's a mad look inside a mad person's mind that will make you go, how? How did they come up with this? It's
I like
very
the sound
funny.
of this already.
It's right up your street, mate. Yeah.
Did you say you watched the Terminal List as well?
Yes, haven't finished it yet though, but I have actually watched a couple more episodes and I am enjoying it.
I was curious to see if it changed. I've just been reading articles on the left versus right wing backlash, quote unquote, the culture war. Yeah, I just was interested in how you find it.
I'm finding it to be an enjoyable action thriller in the vein of, I guess, like Jack Ryan or maybe Jack Reacher, one of the Jacks. I don't think his character is called Jack in this. It sort of plays like, an airport thriller.
Yeah, like the one with Tom Hanks, The Terminal.
Yes, The Terminal.
This is the follow-up, the direct follow-up to The Terminal.
That was a really delightful seg there. I liked that a great deal. Yeah, it does. It's everything you want for an airport thriller like The Terminal. And this is straight to Amazon Prime. The Terminal List is a spin-off, which it takes it in a slightly different direction, some might argue, but I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it.
Very good seeing where Chris Pratt brushes his teeth.
Yeah. It's oddly, I don't think he's at an airport in any of it. He seems to have got his visa or whatever he needs anyway, and he's just mainly running around to kill him.
He's on the list to stay at the terminal.
He was mad about those TSA agents, and he's tracking them down. Yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I'd give it a look. It's I think it does what it says on the tin. It's sort of meaty army hard nuts finding out what's been going on behind the scenes. There's some potential, conspiracy, trickery, people in high places, yada yada, with a sort of interesting underlying thing of he's got some sort of mental damage. So there's a little bit of like, oh, what's real, what isn't to it at times. Give it a look.
I'm going to give it a look.
Before that, I've got a few trailers for you to give a look.
Oh, nice.
Welcome to the party, pal.
As I've given away the secret of it's only a week since the last podcast, there's not been, a huge gamut of trailers, but I've dug out a couple, and there is an accidental theme to these trailers in that they are both for movies with the word wolf in the title, which I suppose, can you tangentially tie that into like the vampire theme of the movie? It's part of like the universal horrors.
Oh, that's not your wing, is it? That's
It's not my
thing.
world, is it? Is vampires in that?
In what? In horror? In Hammer Horror? Or Universal?
No, like the Universal, they try to make that cinematic universe of the Mummy and Swamp Thing and stuff.
Technically, Dracula. Dracula is technically it. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
So I was on the right track.
Also, vampires can turn into wolves in some myths. So yes, it does tie.
I've absolutely nailed it. Incredible scenes. Let's get into the first one.
I gave you the answers.
But I did it because I thought they were connected. And it turns out I just knew that inside me. I didn't need you to explain. I just had a hunch, like a cool vampire detective. The first trailer that we're going to look at is coming straight out of China, where they love a movie with wolf in the title that is about some army men. Case in point, Wolf Warrior 2. Two absolute huge big hitters out of China. This one is called Wolf Pack. Yeah. It's undeniably a military action film starring Max Zhang. It's quite a short trailer, but I'm fairly on board at this point.
I mean, it's, if I could summarize this trailer, it is bang, 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 bang. I think it's going to be action heavy.
It's got a lot of bang, bang, bang. You're absolutely right. Yes, it has got that. But I also had a couple of cling, 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 clings.
It did have some of that. This is clearly just going for that sort of Ghost Recon style. It's a team. They're probably elite.
They're definitely elite.
They're probably sent into a mission that's not as straightforward. Definitely not as straightforward as it should be.
Something's gone wrong.
I reckon there's double crossing. I reckon there's stuff happening.
Yeah. And then, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
These are interesting because China is just pumping out so many movies these days, that especially that we don't even see. There's like Chinese streaming services that just have action movies on them. And occasionally some of them are like,
it's almost like it's the most spoken language in the world.
Incredible
and
scenes.
There's a real market for films.
This is like when we found out there was an Indian film industry all over again. But my point is that a lot of them don't sort of raise their head above the international parapet, so we don't get to see a lot of them. For example, the one, what was it called? Blind War, that I still haven't watched, but we watched the trailer about a guy who gets blinded in the line of duty and then is, like Daredevil. Haven't watched it yet, but I will get around to it eventually. So I'm not sure if this one is going to get that big release or it maybe hides on one of these streaming services and we have to go internet detective. We have to ask Jeeves to download it for us. Nonetheless, I think it looks pretty entertaining. And I think I saw Max Zhang in an Ip Man movie fairly recently. One of the newer Ip Man movies that also had Dave Bautista, the ex-wrestler in it. And it also had Tony Jaa pop up. What was it called? Something Ip Man. The new New Adventures of Ip Man.
Yeah.
No, it's a spin-off. It's not one of the official Donnie Yen ones. But that I really enjoyed that, actually. I thought it was a solid movie. So interested to see what else he's got up his sleeve.
Nice. We'll give it a watch.
As per your demands, I've only got movies in the trailer section with wolves in the title, which brings us very neatly to Project Wolf Hunting out of Korea.
I like the look of this.
This looks like it could go in any number of directions.
The twist in this trailer did not see that coming. So when this opened, I was like, oh, so it's kind of like, it's got that sort of Con Air, Under Siege vibe. It's going to be a very straightforward, the inmates have taken over the asylum vibe, except asylum is a ship and the inmates are out. And then suddenly there's a horror vibe comes through.
It has got a bit of a horror vibe, hasn't it? And I don't know how much that is going to be leaned into, but it got very bloody at times.
It's looking like that sort of, there's a super soldier project or some sort of, could be a vampire, could actually be, or a werewolf if it's Project Wolf Hunting. Because they do say in the trailer, like Project Wolf, how trashy, something like that.
Yes, and there was a bit of a zombie vibe also. Yeah. And in the blurb, the blurb says, Bloody Bedlam breaks out on the high seas in writer-director Kim Hong-sun's gnarly action thriller that pits cops versus cons aboard a cargo ship, and this is the important part, with a sinister secret in its hold.
Yeah. I'm
What's
totally...
the sinister secret?
And again, Simon, you're going to like how I phrase this. I am totally on board for this. I'm totally...
He's
totally on board for it, yeah? He hates it.
I'm just trying to think of a ship pun to...
Well, just get your brain ship shape and it'll come.
Okay. I am going to anchor this conversation back in action movie territory.
You weren't happy with that pun, were you?
I didn't love that one, no. Just send it up to the port, starboard, bow, stern, crow's nest, captain, wheel, sail, mast. Fuck.
You went through all that and you've not done poop deck yet. Unbelievable.
Okay, off to the poop deck with you. Meanwhile, I am heading through to the big screen. Again, I've gone to the cinema. Why do I keep doing this? It's straight to streaming. Fuck. I'm wasting so much time cycling or public transport. Oh, they do have AC, though. My house does not. Let's head into my clammy lounge for the feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dodge this.
What I loved about that intro is we went through so much of your inner turmoil without really touching on it. Just enough to give us some character development in the hell you're sat in at the moment.
Yeah. I feel like Maybe I'll tweet a picture of this when I put it out. But because I'm a massive nerd, I want this podcast to sound the best it can, right? So I'm constantly like, what can I do to, the recording or my environment? And while we both have, like nice rooms to record in and good quality microphones, my room is quite big and echoey, and it doesn't have anything on the walls to absorb that sound. So
welcome
as an
to
experiment,
Simon's inner monologue.
For this episode, and who knows if it will sound any different or anyone apart from me will care, but I've basically built like a pillow fort around me using blankets and huge like sofa cushions in an attempt to try and absorb a bit of the reverberation of the room.
In 4 weeks' time, you can have built like a cushion igloo, and you're just going to
3 hours later. And that is why the podcast sounds absolutely no different.
Can we talk about action films, please, Simon?
I'm so sorry. I thought I was on my tech YouTube channel there. No, it's Dodge This. I forgot it's action movies. It's not Simon's unlisted tech channel. It's Day Shift. I'll be honest, I was pretty excited about this going in, but I had my reservations about the tone. This is what we know about it. Hopefully you've watched it by now. It's straight to Netflix. It stars Jamie Foxx. And what is especially notable for this podcast is that it is directed by J.J. Perry. It's his directorial debut, and he is an absolute legend in the Hollywood and world stunt world. He's been a stuntman for years. He's an accomplished martial artist, and he's also been a stunt coordinator on loads of movies, and he's part of the whole 8711 gang, the gang that have sort of come to prominence off the back of John Wick, like Chad Stahave, got to work out how to say his name, and a whole bunch of other people have kind of come through their, I want to call it, warehouse, like their playroom somewhere in Hollywood, where they get together and like go, would it be cool if we like do like jujitsu, but also the guy like shoots people in the head? And they're like, yeah, fine, yeah, let's do that. And then suddenly John Wick is born. So this guy's got like incredible pedigree.
They had Equilibrium first.
I know. I
hate that. I hate that film.
I really liked it.
I know, we've talked about this before.
I used to have it on DVD when DVDs existed. I feel like if I watched it now, I would not like it. Interestingly, though, the follow-up to that movie, Ultraviolet, starring Mila Jovovich, I think J.J. Perry did some of the choreography on that, because that also had quite stylized. It was like Equilibrium squared. I think you would like it less, probably.
I watched that. I didn't hate Ultraviolet, but I watched it years ago. Then. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Ultraviolet.
It's Day Shift. Where do we start? I think let's start at the beginning of the movie, which it lays out its stall so perfectly in the first 5 minutes.
So efficient.
Jamie Foxx arrives. He's a guy. He pretends to be a pool cleaner. He goes into a house, and there's a vampire in there. It's an old lady, and then they have an amazing fight where there's like all the things that you see throughout the movie that make you go, oh wow, okay, like incredible, like contortion, stunt people being smashed through everything, like really awesomely choreographed fights, gun stuff, just great ideas, just sort of piled on top of each other.
It does what I love about one, horror films, and one, films where there's some sort of lore involved. It sets all its rules without really any dialogue. Like that whole scene is very, there's a few quips here and there, but there's no dialogue, and everything that is going to follow for the next 90 plus minutes is there. And it really, because I went into this thinking, I'm going to hate this.
Did you?
I generally, or hate's a bad word. I didn't think it was gonna enjoy it, because I love vampire films, and
yes,
I thought this was going to be a really bad sort of, I don't know, it just had that, it felt like it was going to be a really someone's doing a vampire film and everybody is really cheesy. But I loved it.
If I was taking bets before we watched it, I would have gone, you like it, I'm on the fence with it. But I think we've both come in at about the same level, which is delightful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically the story, such as it is there's vampires in LA. There's one head vampire who's trying to take over. Jamie Foxx Jamie Foxx kills vampires, and he kills one that is special to the head honcho, and then they kidnap his family.
They're on a collision course. Yeah, basically.
That's a great way of describing it. A collision course.
The world is changing for vampires, and the head vampire of this certain type of vampire is running the show. And just so happens, paths cross, fates entwine, and ultimately shit goes down.
Shit really does go down. I will say, I mean, the plot is almost incidental, I would say.
Well, do you know what I love about this film? This is what really brought me on board with this film. This film doesn't take itself seriously, even though, like you say, the action is slick and serious. But what I love about this is there underneath this is a massive love for this genre.
Yes.
And other genres. At times it feels like a buddy cop film. At times it's a vampire film. At times it is some of the slickest action I've seen in a long time. And it's just incredible. There's clearly and I think a lot of these films for people like us who grew up in the 90s and saw a lot of this type of film coming out of the back of the 80s and even as far as the 70s, I think it takes all those tropes and just morphs them into something lovely, contains the story in that really simple way of how can we get this guy to lay out the rules without him having to talk it out. So
yeah, they
come in at a point where the character is very established but down on his luck, and so they give him things that he needs to achieve to earn the story. And I think that's a really smart way of keeping it simple and keeping it straightforward. So it's basically a story of an underdog, and I love an underdog story.
Yeah, and there's a time scale, right? He's got to get some money in a week, otherwise his family's gonna leave him. And then he's saddled with Dave Franco playing a sort of super accountant-y office nerd / the guy who does all of the plot explaining whenever necessary.
Yeah. The exposition man.
To sort of accompany him around, be very weedy, and piss himself quite a lot.
Yeah, that became a running joke. Very much like that. I really like Dave Franco. I really liked his performance in it.
I thought he was good in this, actually.
I thought they did him dirty a bit, but we won't.
You did?
Won't. Yeah, I mean, I like the way it ends, but also it felt very much like I felt he had so much more to earn and achieve, and he was going towards it, which is exactly what they want you to do. They want you to push you on a path and then Game of Thrones you, but in a very different way.
Yeah, it was quite a bold. I assume everyone has seen it, right, at this point. It's not like a mega spoiler, but I did laugh when one of the main characters is decapitated in the movie. That's a bit. They took a big swing, and then he is.
He's a vampire. It's fine.
He becomes a vampire. Sure, that is quite a funny moment. I will say, and I think Franco does what he can with this role. He doesn't really get to do a lot of action. I will say, latterly, after he becomes a vampire, there's just a bit where somebody goes use the anger, and then they're just like, you know what? Just fucking dress a stuntman up as Dave Franco and have him do some sweet martial arts moves.
Yeah.
They just don't give a fuck. They're like, you know what would look cool though? If he does something really cool. We all know it's not Dave Franco. He's not doing a triple flip axle kick, but it still looks great. And there's a bit where Snoop Dogg is so obviously doubled, doing a spinning roundhouse or something. And you're just like, yeah, I don't care, to be fair. I don't care.
Snoop Dogg was an interesting one in this. They clearly got him in, and they clearly want to make him feel like an absolute boss.
But he is an old man.
Yeah, and he looks absolutely caned throughout the entire shoot.
Throughout the whole thing.
He looks like he's been up early and got straight on it.
I think that is his default face, though, now. Yeah, like, even he could probably not smoke weed for a year, but, like, he's smoked it for the last 50. Like, that's just how he looks.
Do you know what I love about Snoop Dogg in this film? He obviously learned how to walk with attitude when he was young. Like, really, like, you know, coming up through the rap scene and stuff, and he's got that sort of real swagger, and he's never lost it. And whenever you get a shot of him walking, I'm like, oh, man, like, it looks so like, I don't think anyone else has such a unique walk as Snoop Dogg, and I never really noticed it until like, oh God, he's still got it.
Yeah,
he's still got it.
They have a couple of nice needle drop moments, right, where there's like people walking in slow-mo and some shit's about to go down, and I think like Snoop gets such a perfect one. I can only imagine someone pitched it as like, you know, the guy who doesn't really do much but does look cool firing a chain gun. Hear me out.
What a scene. What a scene.
Snoop Dogg. Yeah, all right. I mean, he just doesn't have to do much. And you're like, well, yeah, okay. Do you think Snoop Dogg will be able to manage? Yeah, probably.
That was... Chain is a very good example of what I loved about this film. They never, ever Deus Ex'd it. Like, they always put the characters towards jeopardy. But
What's
they
Deus Ex?
Deus Ex Machina, God in the Machine.
Oh, Deus Ex.
Deus
Sorry,
Ex.
yes.
Deus Ex.
I thought you said DSX.
Deus
I
Ex.
was like, is that Sequest? Sequest?
Sequest.
The sequel?
Deus Ex.
Sequest.
It's just how I talk, okay? But yeah, they never relied on like, they always flung the characters towards jeopardy, and they always allowed them to, again, earn their way out of that. Or even when something came along to change the situation, it wasn't like, oh, and now that thing has happened and stuff like that. And I just thought that was very, very good. Like, just everything was like, if one vampire was suddenly more powerful, it wasn't like suddenly the hero had to power up or something. They used everything they knew and understood and their wits to get out of the action. It's good.
Duff them up. Yeah.
Duff them up.
And the action is really why we're here. I think it's like, it's a great job from JJ Perry to be like, look, this is my directorial debut. Here's what I know. How to make kick-ass action. And this is a vampire film, but you know what? I'm going to fill it with really sweet action set pieces. And after that first one, which like I said, it just sets the scene so well. There's also a lovely shot in that first scene where a vampire is on Jamie Foxx's back and they're struggling, and then it pans to the mirror.
Yeah.
And it's just the clothes of the vampire, and then he throws the vampire and she smashes the mirror. I thought that was just like, nah, ooh, that's just a lovely touch.
Yeah, they again, but that's the thing. They know their genre and they know their other genre, and they married them so fucking well. Like, it was just, again, like, they've clearly designed the vampires to move in a way where you haven't really seen vampires do it before. Like you say, there's a lot of contortion and stuff, but they haven't done it to make it look cool. They've had it so the action fight scenes can be more interesting, and how, like, yeah, it's sort of like we've said before, this film, there's a real sort of, because it's so mainstream now, MMA fighting. So they kind of do a lot of like holds and little turns and twists.
Yeah, the grappling.
Because the contortion, yeah, all the grappling is absolutely like next level. And they've obviously done that thing where they've not CGI'd much of it. They've gone, right, we'll get people who can move in this sort of way, and then we'll accentuate it where it needs to be. But it just gave this sort of fluidity to all the fight scenes that meant it never let up until the vampire was on the floor dead. There was no telling like where the fight was going to go. And like there's that scene where they I mean, we are going to talk about this because I know you're excited to talk about this scene. The scene with your boy Scott Adkins.
Scott Adkins is in this movie, you guys. Finally, episode 2, one shot. He's back. It's taken us this long.
That whole scene is one of my favorite action sequences in a vampire film ever. Could be the best. That whole scene was so fun. It had, like, this thing as well, like, it's slick, but it has touches of Evil Dead. Like, it has that real sort of comedic sort of absurdity
Yes,
to
that's
it
a
as
great
well.
reference. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really fucking good.
After that first scene, and this is, I sort of skimmed through it again yesterday just to remind myself of bits of it and stuff. And it didn't log at the time, which I think speaks volumes for the rest of the movie outside the action is also very enjoyable and kind of chugs along at quite a clip. But there's that first scene, and there's about half an hour where there really isn't any action until the pace starts cranking up. And then, as you say, there is a scene where they introduce two other characters, the Nazarian brothers, played by Scott Adkins, who we know and love, and Steve Howey, who
I didn't
I've not
know.
encountered
Yeah,
before.
I didn't know.
No. And his IMDb doesn't really have an action pedigree, but he certainly looks great as a buffed up, vaguely Eastern European character, I would say.
Nice work, bro. They're great together.
Adkins is having a ball. What's so great to see is, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that Scott Adkins interview with JJ Perry.
I haven't. I'm going to watch it afterwards.
You must watch it afterwards. I will also link it in the show notes. Scott Adkins has this great YouTube series called The Art of Action, where he has like in-depth chats with the people behind the scenes and in front of the camera in the action world. Like, you name it, people from the 80s through to now. One of those people is JJ Perry, who he famously worked on in Undisputed 2, which fans of action will know is a genre classic and something that propelled Adkins, I think, into the sort of DTV stratosphere. And that interview was taped almost exactly 2 years ago. And they talk about, like, they've worked with each other loads. And then Scott Adkins says something about, like, well, as soon as you're directing something, and JJ Perry is like, I got you. Don't worry. I got you. And it's so nice that clearly they were just like, we got this big action scene. These two guys turn up. They arguably have nothing to do with the plot. It's sort of an action scene for the sake of an action scene.
But that's exactly it.
They turn up, kick ass, and then they are never seen again in the rest of the movie.
It's the weirdest thing. That's it. Again, we talked off podcast, and we'll talk about this now. That was, both of us had the same gripe, and it's not gripe. It was just where these characters are so good, and that action sequence is so good that when the team up happens at the end, I was just waiting for that van to pull up.
I know.
And there's obviously a very real world reason why that didn't happen, because they put this film together, and they obviously, if if they could have, they would have got them for longer and into
I'm
the
sure.
scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only thing. Like, there's I would watch an entire spin-off series about those brothers. Like,
yes.
like as much
somebody's
as
pitching it as we speak.
I mean, you do get that idea, though, like, don't you? I'm sure it's not, if it is a conscious decision, then great. And if not, come on Netflix. But you do feel like they've set a world inside this film that is very ripe for a series.
100%.
And this is almost a very self-contained proof of concept, because it's very rare, because I love film and cinema so much, that I want a film to become a series. But I would love to see the same level of production, the same money going into a series, and having all these things like run through.
When you say series, you mean like a show rather than sequels?
Yeah. Like a 10 episode series. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super fun world. And I think they've done very well in this what John Wick did, which was tease all these elements right outside of the world of Jamie Foxx. There's like, well, these guys exist, and there's this gang of vampires, and there's all different like breeds and from different places and that kind of thing. And so Netflix, as we know, is gagging for something that they can churn out sequels to, right? Be it I suppose Extraction, it has got a sequel. That's from Sam Hargrave, another one of these
Enola
8711
got
guys.
a sequel
Enola Holmes.
in November.
We've been in the chat rooms requesting it for years, and it's happening. Can't wait to see what Cavill's moustache and hair situation is in that one. But The Grey Man, the sequel's been greenlit. This is one of those that's like, this is like a mid-budget movie. It's so genreified, which I think, Netflix loves. If it can go, if you like this, you will like this, if you like people fighting and shooting guns and vampires, this is a no-brainer. So I suppose it's done enough to tease the world and not kill off characters so that you're like, fingers crossed this gets a sequel. I would love that. I would love to spend more time in this world and have, JJ Perry have a bit more money and do more action sequences. And then you're obviously like, well, the Nazarian brothers are coming back, right? They're amazing. They're in that one scene. They kicked ass and then we didn't see them. Don't worry. We'll bring them back.
You've nailed that. You've bloody nailed that, mate. Exactly that. But this is the thing that for me as well, there is definitely at the moment, there's a resurgence of those, as I mentioned earlier, those sort of films you'd watch in the 90s, those video shop classics. I think Netflix, that is kind of their thing, isn't it? They do B movies to a degree. There's a really good, if you like vampire films, it's not an action vampire film, but there's another Netflix one called Vampires versus the Bronx. I highly recommend people check that out. It seems to have just gone really under the radar, but it's got such a Fright Night vibe, like that, and sort of Lost Boys and that sort of like kids versus vampires and stuff like that. Whereas this
even the reboot of Fright Night was pretty good.
Right.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
with old Colin Farrell in it. I liked it.
Of course, I
did. If it's got vampires in, he's seen Vampires versus the Bronx, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not missing Fright Night.
But there's definitely I think they're having like a real resurgence, and what they're doing is they're reinventing that lore for the modern world, because obviously the modern world now, we have so much tech and so much other stuff going on that it gets harder and harder to believe that these things can exist underneath it. But going back to my original point, what I like about these reinventions and what I particularly like about this film is I think normally, other than Blade, when you try and turn a vampire film into an action film, it becomes a bit too like trying to be slick and sleek and stuff like that. Whereas this, it's just great. It's just, they concentrate on the fun.
Yeah.
And the action just lifts it up with it.
And it is slick and sleek, but also gritty. It manages to be those two things at the same time.
There's some gore moments in this that are just great. Love a bit of gore.
There's a lot of solid decapitation work. There's that one bit. And maybe, I don't want to pooch anybody's action replay moment, where he like chops a vampire in the neck and then spins the knife around his head. Which is just such a great like cartoon moment, but it works so well. I really like how it treads between those moments and just some like great practical stunt work. There's so many stunt people attached to wires being like thrown across rooms and into things. Yeah. It's so wonderful, and it makes you realize, oh yeah, you feel it more, you know, and it just feels so much better than CG stuff. Also, the fact that by and large it's shot on location in LA, that looks really nice. It reminded me a little bit tangentially of the two Debt Collectors movies, which are Scott Adkins movies, directed by Jesse V. Johnson, also set in LA, just sort of about two debt collectors driving around in a car and then getting into scuffles, which is sort of, but with a much smaller budget. But it had a lot in common with that, I think, in this sort of action pedigree and Scott Adkins and people driving around in cars and a sort of that sun-soaked LA vibe, which I enjoyed a great deal. Speaking of cars, this features an absolute treat of a car chase.
I was going to talk about this, Again, it's hit our holy trinity, hasn't it? Cars, guns, fists. Yeah.
Yes, Cars, Guns, Fists, which will be the name of the Christmas annual that we put out at the end of the year. Dodge This, Cars, Guns, Fists, available at your local news agents.
The sexy calendar that we'll put together for 2023.
Yeah. Well, if there's demand, and that's the last listener has disconnected. It's an absolute treat of a car chase. And again, it's like JJ calling up all the people that he's worked with over the years. Like, hello, mate, you drive cars really fast. I need you. Do that sweet skid move. Hello, mate, you're the guy who shoots the cars up in the air. Great. Also features a couple of those great gags that we saw in, I want to say John Wick 2 or 3, where a bike slams into something
It's
with like
3,
a
I
dummy on
think,
it, and it
yeah.
just like ragdolls.
Yeah, I think it's 3. Because it's when he's on the horse, isn't it?
Yes. Anytime, as soon as people on like scrambler motorbikes in black helmets arrived, I was like, yes! It just reminded me of old John Woo movies.
Also, in that car scene, they had pretty much the what are they called? The big runoffs there for storms. The storm.
Oh, the LA storm drains, yeah. Or the LA River, I guess.
So it had a
call
really,
it, right?
really good Terminator 2 vibe.
Terminator 2 vibe, yeah.
Same colours and stuff.
Yeah, so great. Some really lovely bits in that car chase. And of course, we can't not mention, because apparently, and I'm calling it, 2022, year of the FPV drone.
Yeah.
Again, the FPV drone pops up, and it didn't annoy me too much in this. You haven't seen The Grey Man, have you? Which is the second appearance of this. So you've only had Ambulance, which is like the most FPV drone you could get, to this, which I feel like is just the right amount of FPV drone.
It's because the sequence is so good. So like it just gives it that sort of close-in helicopter shot. It's great. I fucking love what drones have done for cinema.
Yeah, there's one amazing shot where they pull into the LA River for the first time, and it just sort of follows the cars down, and then it just pulls up as 2 bikes fly over the side into the river. And it's just like that shot. It takes so much planning, but it's just like executed so well.
And nothing's incidental in this film either. Like everything they do, every little detail feels like it's happening in the moment. But they've, like you say, the planning of it is incredible. Even like the information they give you to the point where in the wife's house, she's getting ready to sell it, so they highlight in a very subtle way one step, which is going to then later knock someone out. Like it's just I love that. I love it. It's all coded, ready for the cinema. Oh, I love it. You know what? The more I've talked about this, the more I've enjoyed this film. I enjoyed it already.
I know. I was going to say, let me be clear, this is not like a 5-star theatrical experience. This is like a really enjoyable, the way I described it, I think, was like a 90s DTV movie that had stumbled across a suitcase full of cash and an A-list star and just run with it.
Yeah. It's great. It's exactly that.
It is what it is, right? It's like a 3.5-star movie probably, but it's super, super enjoyable.
I'd bump it to 4 on a good day. I think so. Do you know what? I would have said it's about 3.5, and then the more I've come away from it, the more I enjoy it. I think it's the sort of thing that I'm going to rewatch in about a month, and then I'll enjoy it even more because I know it's something. And then if I was a teenager now, I'd get this video on VHS and I would wear it down. I would literally just go, I'm going to put that on because I love it. It's a real,
right.
Yeah.
It's like what we talked about last month about your DVD collection, and this would just slot in right next to Swordfish, The Lost Boys.
No,
in fact,
it's earlier. It's like mid-90s. It's sort of
no, it's true.
It's Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and all those like beautiful covers on those videos. It'd just be
There's a lovely bit where they drive the van. Somebody's van drives into a disused cinema, and I paused it because I am a nerd to see what the movies listed were.
What was it?
And it was like Predator. What were the other ones? They were like genre classics.
Yeah.
There was definitely Predator, and I should have screen grabbed it. 3 other solid, like tip of the hat to those who came before. I say the only thing that was missing for me was, and I've touched on this in the past, I think, was the finale when it was like Boss versus Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
She's like an all-powerful mega vampire. And I guess it's a sort of David and Goliath thing. But having seen they can just wheel out Scott Adkins whenever they want, I wanted like a really good fight at the end. And there's sort of 2 fights happening at once, and they're both quite entertaining, but never quite the,
I think that was the thing. They played their cards in a. If they'd had those 2 extra characters plus Snoop holding off a horde so Jamie Foxx could get the job done with the aid of his family.
Yeah.
That's that. And again, it's no detriment to the film. It's just that it would have been incredible. And that's the only thing, isn't it? It's not that what they've done is bad, because again, there's that fucking arm rip. It's beautiful. Absolutely brilliant. Like the
bit where Dave Franco suddenly becomes a ninja. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's great. Like everything works for it. And again, the way that they do dispatch the boss, it was always going to be.
It's nice, yeah. It was very nicely set up and very well executed, pun intended, if you like. Yeah, the one thing that confused me was they go through the movie talking about there's this big boss, it's El Jefe. Yeah. El Jefe is the boss. And then Snoop even says, she's not El Jefe. And then at no point do they reveal, I'm El Jefe.
It's called lore setup. So you've got...
We haven't met El Jefe yet.
Exactly. And so you know how tough this one is. You can only imagine what El Jefe is.
Gotcha. I was just checking I hadn't missed anything, but they were just sort of setting up. We're not going to get to the end of level boss just yet.
2 is going to be El Jefe, find out what's been going on in LA. 3,
we find out.
No,
there's 3, a bigger boss.
They'll do the Blade thing. 3, they'll bring Dracula in.
Oh no! Why is Ryan Reynolds here? No, we don't need it.
Ryan Reynolds is brilliant in Blade 3. I said it.
Wow. It's just not a great sum of its parts movie, is it? I think.
No, but Blade 1 and 2 are so good.
I know, and also good. Blade 3, they kind of PG-13'd it, didn't they?
Blade 3, Blade Trinity. Yeah, they just lost some of the what made it work. Blade 2, I think, is my favourite. And I love Blade, and I love Stephen Dorff, but oh my God, there's just something about Blade 2.
Yeah. Its name is Guillermo del Toro. Right? Yeah. That's getting a reboot, I believe, isn't it? There's a new Blade TV show or movie coming
into the MCU, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That means that will be PG-13
It's good
again.
Because Blade is the franchise that really made comic book films start to pop again. Because there's a lot of 90s comic book films that were terrible. And then Blade came along and it was slick and it was cool and it was very of its time and it had all that sort of... had bullet time before The Matrix.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I had
both. I think Blade
has my favourite one-liner in it.
I think Blade was the first DVD I bought.
It's on my early... It's in my first 10. Jaws was my first one. I got Jaws and the Rocky... all 5 films was only 5 at the time. And get this, just because you're allowed a DVD free and there's a very slim selection, Juice Bigelow, Male
Yeah, I mean, if there's a movie worth owning on DVD for the quality, for the extras, it's Bigelow. It's got to be Bigelow. And your favourite line from Blade, I hope, is the one that is in the intro to this
Some
podcast.
Motherfuckers always trying to ice skate up a hill.
Great stuff.
I love it.
Matt, unless you've got anything else to add,
No,
I think we've very much come at this from all angles available. I would say if you haven't seen it, sorry for the spoilers, but go and watch Day Shift.
It's really fun.
A lot of fun. It's
really
a lot of fun.
Action replay, Simon?
Matthew, do you have an action replay moment?
I do have an action replay moment. I had many action replay moments.
Did we pooch all of them in the chat?
Just then, I had to skim through the film because I had it open just to decide.
I wondered what you were doing.
Just to decide which one I wanted. And I decided it is definitely, just because it made me laugh, Vampire gets hit with a TV, his head pops through, and they decapitate him with the TV.
Really nice.
And it's so good. It
really
just
nice.
really was one of those moments where I went, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just another, lovely idea, perfect execution, and thank you.
Yeah, didn't dwell on it. Bam, bish, bash, bosh.
Yeah, considering, I think, in previous vampire films, we haven't really set up the idea that decapitating vampires is one of the ways to dispatch them.
We have
right?
in so many.
Have we?
Yeah, including...
I'm just not paying attention.
The entire Buffy series and... Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't really
And Vampire Lore as well.
You just chop the head off.
Well, we don't really have time, but in some original vampire lore, they used to chop the head off and put a stake in the mouth, or they would fill the mouth with soil and stuff. Also, they bury them at crossroads.
Wow!
And there's a really dumb reason for this. So apparently one of the reasons they buried vampires at crossroads was because if they woke up and they crawled out of the grave, they would have a 50% chance of getting the right road into town.
What? I thought it was just because it was a big cross. No, they'll be lost for ages.
Is it left or is it right? I'm going to have to make the decision.
Oh, this is so annoying. If only I wasn't immortal. I'm stuck in this hot sun until someone kindly stranger in a pickup truck comes by.
Again, you've really misfired your vampire lore then.
Why?
Because they can't be in sunlight.
Sunlight. Yeah.
It's one of the main ones.
Sorry, I was really focusing quite hard on doing an accent. And
it was good.
I took my eye off the ball. My action replay, since you asked, is... Well, it's more of a technical action replay. I think it was just such a great idea for a shot that maybe wasn't meant to be in, but they were like, put that in, is when a drone goes from inside a car out of the sunroof and then up into the air. And you just see, I don't know.
I'm going to say that wasn't an accident.
I mean, I know like the drone was going up. And whatever,
should I take the drone off from the static movement? No, we're driving, mate. Just send it out the sunroof and just hit record.
Yeah, you're probably right. But if it had the vibe of, just launch the drone from the follow car and we'll get the shot from when it gets up in
that is.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, it looked fucking cool, and it was one of those like nice camera things. It reminded me of that bit in the Raid 2 where they there's a car chase and the camera gets sort of passed through a car, where you're like, how have they done that? And then you watch the behind the scenes and it's
big stick.
It's just a guy hand giving the camera to another guy. Yeah. They've managed to make it look super smooth. Anyway, that's my action replay, Matt. And since you've been so dismissive, it's time, because I know you love it, for some action movie trivia. Yeah. Eat this, my friend.
I should be allowed to do them on you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is a great one, actually. And it's going to be such absolute guesswork, but it ties in neatly with this movie.
Go on.
Here we go. How many people does John Wick kill in John Wick?
Ooh.
Sounds like a tongue twister. How many people does a John Wick kill if a John Wick could kill Wick?
I'm going to say 89. That feels like a good number.
Okay, I'm going to give you 4 options.
Okay. Is
34.
89 one of them?
128. If it was, it would be incredible. 77 or 53. 34, 128, 77 or 53.
I'm going to go with 77 because it's the closest to 89.
He's got it! He nailed it in one!
I roughly knew how many people John Wick killed.
Very impressive, actually. But according to this, he's just getting started because in chapter 2, 128.
You've got to up the body count.
Ooh, he's nearly doubled it. Good lad. All right, that wraps up episode 19 of Dodge This Action Movies Unleashed. Check out Day Shift if you can. If you want to follow me and Matt, we're on all the socials at Simon Fielder and Matthew Heighton. You can find us using search engines or via our websites of the same name. If you've enjoyed this pod, do us a share. Chuck it on your socials. Send it to a friend.
Also, I'm just going to say it. If you are listening to it and you got this far, give us a review on Apple. It helps us rise up the ranks.
Great shout, actually, yeah. And Spotify, you can click the old five stars.
We don't like to ask, but it would help and we would love this to grow because we very much enjoy doing it and we are very appreciative of you guys for listening.
Thank you so much for tolerating us for another hour. I don't regret building this pillow fort, but I will say...
You look so clammy.
I'm so sweaty. Fingers crossed, listener, the sound quality was worth it. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Matt, what's our new sign-off going to be? Keep Kicking doesn't appear to have caught on.
Keep Kicking, it was good.
Maybe you could have a vampire pun.
Oh,
I love this. Put him on the spot. I'll start fading it out before
because
you
you've already
gets to
used
it.
fantastic, because I would have used that, but now I've got to
Thanks
go
for the
with-
memories.
Yeah.
I worry that you don't have a big enough stake in this podcast.
Oh, that's good, actually. That is good.
No, if you've got a tickle in your throat, don't worry, because I can cut out all of the coughing.
You've definitely opened a pun Google sheet or something.
Bye!